So, connected in multiple ways, China and India influenced each other in the realm of medicine. And by 1500 BC, the Aryans had invaded India from Central Asia, bringing with them the Sanskrit language and early writings called Vedas, or books of knowledge. These books told of sages carrying bags of medicine and other tools for wound care, and even a possible urinary catheter to relieve bladder obstructions. I have to wonder, what was this catheter made from? And like the Chinese, the Indians tried to categorize the universe into component elements, and they reflected this into the body, a universe in miniature. From the air, fire, water, and earth, the Indians also added space. This was pretty cool. And by pairing these elements, they created three doshas, or humors: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which also corresponded to their own particular bodily functions. This system is further complicated by three essences. Agni is the medium through which the mind and the body communicate to each other. Prana is the life force. And Ohas is the linkage that allows Agni and Prana to work. And this is considered the ultimate component, a kind of integration. Ayurvedic medicine models of the body imagine a mechanical kind of system, which have tubes, valves, and burners, a kind of chemical laboratory. The Indians also imagined 117 vital energy points called marmas, which echoed the Chinese acupuncture points. And a concept of toxins was also developed, with a need to detoxify by purging, which would happen through sweating, bleeding, diarrhea, or vomiting. So Sushruta was a Brahmin, a pragmatist, and he began his career as a master of arrow injuries. And his texts describe over 100 surgical instruments with the use of cautery, leeches, aspiration, excision, and suturing. There were detailed instructions to cover operations for anal fistula, tonsillectomy, lithotomy, which is a medical term for removing a bladder stone, cesarean section, and also rhinoplasty, which is another medical term which just means a nose job. And in India, at this point in time, cutting off the nose was a common thing. It was a punishment for prisoners of war, criminals, or adulterers. So the Indians were able to devise an ingenious solution to this. What they would do is take a flap of skin from the forehead and leave it connected to an artery, which was right on the inside of the eyebrow. They could take this flap of skin and they could turn it down to cover over the hole. And having a blood supply, that flap of skin could survive. And they could come back later to take care of the artery because the skin would have developed its own other circulation. This today is known by plastic surgeons as the Indian method. Sushruta also listed over 700 medicinal plants with myriads of uses, but there's no real evidence that any of these had more than a symptomatic effect. The Indians did have a plant that could have been used for high blood pressure, but they really hadn't even identified that, and that medicine was used more as a sedative. So for psychological therapy, Sushruta also was able to use yoga or meditation. And this was promoting a relaxed state, going with the flow, if you will. That was encouraged. The next most famous Indian physician was Karaka, who was more of an internist, a holistic and preventive practitioner. Moderation was the key. The mind was the prisoner of the body, and true enlightenment came with freedom from the physical world.